Hola, hola. It's that time, mi gente. That's right. It is time for Cafecito Break. Our Monday morning, Monday evening. Our Monday evening cafecito at 8 p.m. Take a moment right now, mi gente, to share, to like, to comment, to tell a friend, because we're gonna have a spicy conversation here this evening. The battle in New York, mi gente. All eyes are on New York right now as the mayoral race heats up. In just a few moments, you're going to see our little faces. Let's warm up those algorithms. We can't do this without you. All hands on deck. As that song says, it is not too late. All right. Hello, hi everyone. Welcome to Cafecito Break. I'm your host Rosangel Pérez, one of the Pérez sisters, here with my brother Kozi. Hello, Kozi, ¿cómo está?
What's going on? I love the new music. This is great.
Well, I mean, I wonder who, had a hand in producing it.
Yeah.
It's teamwork here. Mi gente, thank you for joining us today. It is some spicy chats. As you know, we are here. We've been focusing here Monday nights, 8 p.m. on the New York election season. Why? Because we've known that sooner or later, you guys would be paying attention to New York City. And maybe you may not be familiar with us. Maybe you don't know who we are, but we represent some of the New York freedom fighters in New York City that have been fighting tirelessly for many years for New Yorkers and against tyranny. I'd like to start with this quote before I pass it over to Kozi real quick, so it could set the stage for today's conversation. All right. This is a quote by Malcolm X. I believe that there will ultimately be a clash between the oppressed and those that are doing the oppressing. I believe that there will be a clash between those who want freedom, justice, and equality for everyone and those who want to continue the systems of exploitation. I'm going to read it one more time. I believe there will ultimately be a clash between the oppressed and those who are doing the oppressing. I believe that there will be a clash between those who want freedom, justice, and equality for everyone and those who want to continue the systems of exploitation. All eyes are on New York City right now. There's a lot of finger pointing happening. There's a lot of shaming, a lot of bullying. We're going to talk about some of these things. But at this time, I'd like to welcome to the show my brother Kozi. How are you?
What's going on? I'm doing good. I'm doing great. Besides the fact that, as New Yorkers here, I feel like they're trying to bully us into voting for someone that proved himself to be a monster. Okay. A lot of finger pointing saying, oh, if you don't vote for Cuomo, you're going to make Mamdani win. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Okay. Imagine telling someone to vote for a sexual harasser. Imagine voting for somebody that was responsible for over 1,000 elderly deaths. Imagine telling somebody to vote for someone that removed religious exemptions from children. Imagine voting for someone that locked down New Yorkers in the most aggressive way and abusive way. Okay? Imagine telling somebody to vote for someone that said, we're not going to make America great again because it was never that great to begin with. Imagine voting for someone or telling somebody to vote for someone that said conservatives who are pro-life and pro-gun should leave New York. You conservatives, you Republicans make me sick to my stomach. You're disgusting. Stop bullying. Stop finger pointing. If Mamdani wins, it's not because we voted for the right person, Curtis Lewa. It's because the Democrats are extreme, and it's because you conservatives and you Republicans and people who think supposed to be thinking like us, right? Or claim to be the party of freedom, claim to be the people who are independent thinkers, okay, chose to vote for the scumbag that I just described. All those things I listed and much more. You guys are disgusting. Stop it. If you're doing this out of fear or you're being paid off. Okay? It's either fear or paid off. We know the billionaires with their billions of dollars are the gatekeepers and they're putting pressure on you. They're either paying you off directly or you're scared that the money the money's going to stop. Grow a pair and save New York.
Well said. Well said. I'd like to know the folks that are tuning in. Comment in the comments section below. If you are a New Yorker, is your mind made up? Do you know who you're going to vote for? There's a couple of things that I'd like to add that hopefully when Mark comes in later, and special guest today is going to be John Paul Moran from Go USA. We're going to talk about the op score. So we've got a couple of conversations that we'll be diving into today, all centered around the New York City election. And all part of the messages that we'd like to convey to you today is that let's kind of drop some of the labels and talk about common sense. Stop looking at us. If you can stop looking at us who are conservative, independent, and maybe Republican as like just red hat wearing people, that when you look at us like that, it diminishes our potentiality to even have a flourishing conversation, because that has been weaponized against us, against humanity, in getting closer to one another. Can you imagine just the symbol of something red infuriates and incenses some people to the point that they can't even reason? And my friends that have TDS bring Trump up more than I do, and supposedly I'm all up Trump's ass according to how some of these people view me. Yet if you've seen my content, we've hardly covered Trump at all this year. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, we're scarlet lettered. When 2020 came and went, somebody like Andrew Cuomo was so happy to be on camera every day, and people fell in love with him because he was so like macho, was commanding, he was telling people what to do. He was a voice of reason, in a sense, during a time where people were very scared. And that voice of reason quickly became a voice of tyranny. And when, you go over to the present moment, it's almost like they have amnesia. It's almost like they didn't say what they said to us. It's almost like, hey, it was a mandate, but people didn't have to listen. People didn't have to obey the rules. Yeah, we told people, we were recommending that, they close their shops. So, slow down the spread. But they could do whatever they wanted to do. It was on them. No, I call that bullshit, because there were people that were fined time and time and time again and lost businesses. They lost employees. They lost a lot of money. They lost their livelihoods. People like yours truly, we lost our small business that we had. After 9 years, it was COVID that took us down. And so then for us to get to the 11th hour in witnessing a disaster that has been created by Democrats, you guys created the leadership. You guys created the disaster that we are seeing in the present moment. You had your Democratic primary. It wasn't just one candidate. It wasn't two. It was several, right? Kozi, weren't there several people who were in the primary? Who
Yeah.
won? Who won by a landslide? It wasn't Cuomo, even though some of you wanted to gaslight, all the mainstream media and the people with big money influence wanted to gaslight the public that Cuomo was gonna just take it. You could have listened to something we could have told you when we're telling our community members, some friends of influence, some people who have the monies, who, ran scared and invested in Eric Adams. We could have told you the people on the streets don't like Eric Adams, not the Democrats, not the moderates, not the Republicans. Were we wrong? What happened? What happened with Eric Adams? He dropped out. So now you're gonna tell us that the man who lost already against Mamdani went to the independent line, that all of a sudden a Republican needs to come and not only disrupt his campaign that he's worked so hard to build, but turn around and betray his base that he's been cultivating, not just 1 year, not just 2 years. You're asking him to betray his integrity of being who he is for over 50 years and is
Disgusting.
serving almost 50 years in New York City. And then the bullying and the shaming that's happening with people who just want our freedom to vote. It's like I cannot even believe this.
Yeah, and the people who really sincerely, right? Like people who are like, "Oh, but you're gonna help elect Mamdani, just vote for Cuomo." Like, what do you think Cuomo's gonna do? Are you that stupid? Did you not see what I just told you he did? What we all witnessed and experienced? What do you think he's gonna do? Do you think he's actually the savior? Why would you put like, oh, he's much better. At least he's the lesser of two evils. No, evil is evil. Evil is evil. I don't vote for evil. Okay, and it's not that it's just a lesser of two evils. You have a man with integrity, like you just said, integrity since the 70s, putting his life on the line to protect New Yorkers. And not only that, he had great ideas. When I listened to him during that debate, because this is the first time I've ever heard him debate, I was I was like, wow, he's actually a great debater. Wow, he's actually a good thinker. Actually, he destroyed every single argument. He put them both to shame and he won that debate hands down. So how the hell you have a star? He's a superstar on that stage. He is a superstar of New York and you're going to diss him and say, "Oh, the lesser of two evils?" No, there's two evils and there's a freaking hero on that stage. So why would you lose that opportunity? And this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to get him to get him in that seat. Okay, once in a lifetime, because people like this are rare. This is a real New Yorker, real grassroots, and you're gonna freaking diss him and turn your back now on the 11th hour, like you just said, on the 11th hour. You're disgusting. You're the reason why New York is gonna fall.
I am disgusted in a way. I think I made myself sick. First of all, I was disgusted with the mayoral debate because there are three people. Since when in history do we focus on the Democrat and the independent? Right?
Never.
It never, never.
He's like, hello, the third party. Hello, ain't I another? Am I
Right. It's
another
always
individual
it
here?
like remember like when we were getting all the stuff, people always get so much BS who run in the independent line because people laugh at them all the time. They're like, oh, you got such a low chance. So so in the debate, it was just Cuomo and Zoram back and forth. And then all of the moderators, it was like they were catering here, honey boo boo here. What would you like to say? What would you like to say?
Yeah,
No,
and
no,
you have
Sleep. Why we don't want to hear from you? You got 1 minute. Shh, shh. He's just only started talking. He's at 30 seconds and you're already cutting him off. And yet, with all of that sabotaging, people saw Sliwa.
the truth.
People, he was able to go, pew, pew. I'm
Yeah, I
like,
love when you said we have the professional, like the professional loser, and the apprentice. The apprentice. That shit threw me. Like when he said the apprentice, I literally like I died right there. It was so amazing, so fitting. The apprentice. He never worked a day in his life. The apprentice. You little boy, get off that seat. You're not hired. We don't want you.
so I want to play this clip that went super viral. I know you saw it, just in case some of you didn't. Is Nate Friedman, who interviewed him and asked him the question that they have been driving Curtis Lee were crazy with. Drop out, drop out, drop out. Or how do you feel that you're going to be the spoiler candidate? Like, ridiculous. They're even calling him like a narcissist. Like, it's just ridiculous. Okay, let's add this to the scene. The spoiler. So let's see what he says. So let's play.
against Mamdani, that you and Cuomo are splitting the anti-Mamdani vote. So my question is simple. Are you okay if Mamdani wins that you, so to speak, contributed to that?
Well, number one, Ackman is a jerk. Has he been right yet? Here's a guy who goes up to Newport, Rhode Island and thinks he's a professional tennis player. Come on, Ackman, stay in your lane. Does he know anything about politics? No. Does he live in New York City? No. He lives in Chapaka, the whitest suburb of America, where even the lawn jockeys are white. He may know Wall Street. He may know hedge funds. He has been wrong every step of the way with the billionaires. So let's say people come to the conclusion, if somehow I lose, and we know Andrew Cuomo's lost, he's already tossed in the town. Oh, it's because of you, Curtis. Because of, really? It's because of the Democrats. Wait a second. Who created Zohan Mandami? Who embraced him? Who nourished him? Who supported him? And how dare you, people who know nothing about politics, suggest that everybody who's going to vote for me is suddenly going to be reborn? We love Andrew Cuomo. He killed all these elderly. He's a sexual harasser. He told conservatives and Republicans in 2014, if you're conservative and you believe in right to life and the Second Amendment, you have no place in New York. You need to leave. This is the result of the Democrat self-destruction. So I'm supposed to help them? How come they don't help themselves? Andrew Cuomo failed everybody in that primary. He even admitted it. Now he's basically saying, I can't win without Sliwa votes. Where are your votes? Why don't you spend your money and he's got millions from the billionaires? Millions. Go out, get your own votes. Convert Sliwa voters. But for me to drop out, I represent a major party line. I have people running under me, council people, judges. They put their heart and soul into it. They support me. I have more donations than Andrew Cuomo does, matching funds. So you know something? This is called voting. Sure. Since when do we not let people vote? Billionaires determine the next mayor? If they don't like it, they can leave. They have options. Blue-collar working class people don't. Those are the people I'm representing, not Andrew Cuomo. Sure.
Punto.
Excellent. Grand slam. And that's what I love. Grand slam. Because the truth is very easy, right? When you're a liar, when you're manipulative, when you're creepy and scummy and swampy, okay? It's hard for you to project truth and light. This is pure light. It was so easy. It just came out of him.
Yeah, and when and it resonated. If I'm not mistaken, the last I looked, that clip on X alone had over 8 million views. If I'm not mistaken,
Really?
correct me if
That's
I'm
really
correct
amazing.
me if I'm wrong, community members. But
Wow.
it went viral. Imagine if the media, the mainstream media, because if you really want to start finger pointing, we gotta include the mainstream media. So much of this is your fault. Had you given Sliwa more of a platform, New Yorkers would be in a better place because they would have information. They would have known a long time ago, oh, we've had a sane choice all along. And it took this 11th hour mayoral debate in which you guys treated him like he was nothing when you should be venerating him in the sense of how he has given so much of his life to New York, in that sense, not like idolizing him as a religious icon. I'm just talking about when we look upon New York and leadership, we don't have a lot of people in my recollection that I'm fond of. And when I think about they truly love New York, no, I feel like they truly love symbols. They truly love to enslave us in the mind. And here's what I think: their big money and mainstream media and the machine, they're afraid because the people want somebody that's more reflective of boots on the ground, more reflective, and is talking the language of real New Yorkers. So I'm sorry to say, mi gente, it's only gonna be Mamdani, and if it's up to us, Sliwa. So with that, I'd like to read one quote and then bring up John Paul, who is waiting backstage. I want to read something that Mike Solana posted. He said, I understand the impulse to blame the New York City mayoral disaster on Sliwa, but it's pretty wild to watch. I'm getting some backup, some noise. Okay. And Mark, I'm going to bring you up in a second. Let me just finish this quote. Okay. I understand the impulse to blame New York City mayoral disaster on Sliwa, but it's pretty wild to watch reasonable Democrats demand the only Republican in the race drop out so their disgraced former governor can beat the actual communists their own party elected in the primary. And this is posted earlier by Mike Solana. I'm going to bring up at this time Mark 4NY, who is one of our other co-hosts. Hello, Mark.
Going on,
Welcome.
Mark?
How's it going, fellow freedom-loving Americans? I think I got to put a parental guidance warning before I go into my little rant in a little bit. I don't know if you're ready for that, or if you.
Go for it.
I think we should do John Paul on the second. We'll do the TV show for the second half of the show for Brooklyn Free Speech. But all right, so I'm gonna wait till it's an even minute mark, so that way we know what to go back to. Cat Turd, 3.9 million followers on X. Cat Turd is a perfect name because you're a pussy piece of shit. Okay? I told you influencers to stop talking about New York City politics. You have no clue what you're talking about. After the debate, he reposted some MAGA moron saying that Curtis Lee was disqualified because he wouldn't coordinate with Trump if he sends the National Guard. First of all, I was listening to the debate live and I was praying that Curtis Lee would stay quiet for that. Because once again, you people don't know politics. Any association with Trump is death in New York City politics. There are people with TDS that might have a little bit of common sense and think, okay, crime is bad. Maybe give Sliwa a shot. I remember him from the Guardian Angels. There's a lot of Democrats that like Curtis Sliwa. Aside from that, Cuomo-sexuals, newsflash, Sliwa is not dropping out. So do not split the vote. There is no logical reason to be splitting the vote right now. Okay? You're falling for their bullshit. They want you to split the vote too. The Democrats are going to split the vote, so let's split the vote too. It makes absolutely no sense. The reality is most Republicans are going to vote for Sliwa, and it's going to be a close race, and the Cuomo-sexuals are the ones who are going to ruin it. And you guys are like, oh, unfortunately, Cuomo is No! No! Unfortunately, your mother took too much Tylenol when she was pregnant because you're fucking retarded. Okay? That's what's unfortunate. Stop falling for the bullshit. All these media lies saying that Sliwa doesn't have a chance. It's bullshit. They want you to split the vote. There are a lot of Democrats that are communists. Most of them are under 30 years old, under 25 years old even. There's plenty of Democrats who are over 30 years old who are not communists, and they're not going to vote for the communists. Yeah, they won the primary because the young people came out and they voted for the communists in the primary. The general election is going to have independents and other Democrats that are going to vote Cuomo. Let them split that vote. Take all of the Republican vote for Sliwa, some of the independents, some of the Democrats, and give Sliwa a fighting chance. Cuomo destroyed New York. It's the electric chair with Mamdani. It's lethal injection with Cuomo. The only person that could save New York City is Curtis Sliwa. So don't be freaking retarded and just vote for Sliwa. Give us a fighting chance for somebody that could actually fix New York. Thank you.
Woo! Technical knockout. Let's go, Mark. That was amazing.
Glad you appreciated it. I
That was just a knockout.
had to go freaking like Brooklyn on people now because it's New York City. Like I told you influencers to stop talking about New York, but you want to do it anyway. And I was gonna Cat Turd also attacking Thomas Massey. Like, take Trump's cock out of your mouth and speak for yourself. Okay.
Imagine people begging for the federal government to go into a state. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's against the Constitution. That shouldn't be happening. That shouldn't be happening. Okay?
Well,
Like,
first, and also, like, Cuomo didn't raise his hand either. So why is Sliwa the one that's disqualified when you talk about the National Guard coming in? Okay, and there's enough with the NYPD is like an army. Okay, and they would support Curtis Sliwa as mayor, and we would actually get back to NYPD doing their job. And there's enough of a police force; people will actually be recruited into the NYPD when you have a leader like Sliwa. But I went on my rant and I'll fall back a little bit. I'm obviously very passionate about it. I had to go Brooklyn on people right here because it's New York City and it's less than a week before early voting, people. Less than a week before early voting. We don't have much time left. We don't have time
stop
for games.
listening to the Cuomo sexuals. Stop it. Stop it. They're brain dead.
All
Exactly.
right. Shall we bring up our special guest?
Yeah, let's go for it. We'll just
Yes, we shall.
we'll just notice the timer from there. We'll have a special
Don't
edition with
worry,
him on.
magic happens in the edit. Let's keep it
I know
smooth
you're an expert,
sailing.
but I'm trying to make
Let's
it easy for you.
I know, and you do, and I appreciate it. All right, mi gente, we have a special guest with us today, John Paul from Go USA. Let's bring him up. Hello, John. Welcome.
Hey, Patriots. How you doing tonight?
How's
Love
it
the
going,
fight.
John?
Pretty good. Good to see you again, John.
Good seeing you again, guys.
So we've got a couple of questions. Can you please, for those of you, for those who are getting to know you for the first time, if you can introduce yourself and briefly tell us about the op score, because I know that you want to get into different pieces. You sent me a couple of slides that you'd like us to share, and so you could talk about it. So let's get into it in pieces so that we can, let the community know.
All right, great. Well, thank you for having me on, and thank you for being real Americans and real New Yorkers. I'm from Boston. My name is John Paul Moran, and I run an organization called Grand Opportunity USA, or Go USA in short. Opportunities central to our mission because hey, we're the land of opportunity, right? There's nothing partisan about that. It's either you fighting for the freedom in our country, or you're against it, and that's kind of how we look at it. So Grand Opportunity USA is our name. We're fighting to save the American dream and America itself. And we think that there's ways to do it because it's something called common sense. Thomas Paine wrote a book 250 years ago called Common Sense, which was your viewers probably know what that is. Helped inspire the revolution a quarter millennia ago. And this is really the common sense score system we invented at Go USA. It's called the OP score. I'll talk about that. It stands for, you could guess it probably, opportunity score. And if you really, when we look at it, there's only really one option that people should be picking when they vote. It's either they're voting for themselves or against themselves. And we invented a system that just shows who's voting for the people working for them and who are the candidates working against them. So that's what we've been doing. We helped over 20 races for U.S. Congress last year cross the finish line. Big. We also, our numbers show we really helped President Trump as well. And we want to be able to help every, New York City and the two big governors races this year in Virginia and New Jersey. So that, in a nutshell, we're the political credit rating system for politicians, holding them accountable, exposing their bullshit, but also exposing the good stuff. So voters have something they can go by to vote instead of voting down party lines all the time.
Thank you very much. And not too long ago, we were all present at an event where you were able to show us how that was translating to people when they took, they answered a couple of questions, or maybe they got to see where their favorite candidate landed on some of the issues that were important to them. Do you want to maybe look at some of the slides and break some of this down for us a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. I'd love to show you some of the scores and how it works.
Okay,
And
let me bring one up.
okay.
Okay, stand by.
And as you're pulling that up, I can just maybe flesh it out a bit more. What we really like to do is really depower the parties, because I admit it, I'm a Republican. I ran for U.S. Congress. I was the nominee in the 6th District of Massachusetts in 2020, and that's when I realized this is a lot of just politics is messed up, because people are not voting like they're buying products as consumers. Because if people voted like they buy a bicycle, or how they look at going to a theater, and if they're going to go to watch a movie, or if they're going to go to a restaurant, they use Yelp, they use Rotten Tomatoes, they use Consumer Reports. They're always checking ratings on things. And if people check the ratings on their politicians, the world would be a lot different place, a lot better place. That's how we look at it. So take the red and blue off. I mean, I'm red, but I'm not. We don't tell people how to vote. We say, you vote for yourself. Don't vote for them. Vote for you. If you vote for yourself and you just look at the issue, if the issue is the issues, and it's not the bullshit, but it's the issues, America First would win every single election just about everywhere in the country, including New York City. So that's all we need people to do. Do we have something you want to show on the screen?
Sure. Let me make it bigger.
Okay, so that's okay. So you want to start with the Virginia race first? That's Abigail Spanberger versus Winsome Earl Sears, or Winsome Sears. I know we're talking a lot about the New York City race right now, but these are also two big bellwether states. And if they go blue, it's not a good sign for 2026. Plus, it's terrible for those states, actually. So we have a rating here where we rate against. There's actually 40 criteria. It's very thorough. Everything Americans care about on virtually every level is in the op score. Okay, so we show where do the politicians stand versus the people in the Constitution. It's that simple. So if they're for something, like they're for the First Amendment, they're for the Second Amendment, they're for secure borders, they're for school choice, where 80-90% of people are for school choice, they get the positive point, all right, on that question. If they're against the people and they don't want school choice, right, or they want higher taxes, or they want to be able to say no gas cars, right? Because they support the environmentalist crazies, they lose the point, because that's against the will of the people. So this is kind of just a common sense will of the people score. It can't be considered partisan. We have the data to prove it on every single point. And right here you see Abigail Spanberger with a -3, and Winsome Sears with a positive. I think that's a 3.2. So Spanberger, extreme anti-opportunity score, which means she is so terrible on all the issues combined, virtually all the issues, she's against the people. And when you look at Winsome Sears, she's with the people the vast majority of the time. That's why she gets such a good score. It goes from -5 to +5. This ad is being pushed out. It's reached, I believe the numbers are over 200,000 people have seen this ad, have reacted to it. And we've showed that 88% have liked, shared, and positively commented on Winsome Sears, and only 12% for Abigail Spanberger. I mean, she's the one who's Jay Jones, her attorney general candidate, says he wants to murder Republicans and murder their kids, and this guy's still running. Okay, this is how far left. This is after they shot Charlie Kirk. They think it's okay to run a candidate that says he wants to murder Republicans. That's just one of the issues that's on this score system. So we push this out. And our numbers show in 2025 the same approximate number, 85% across the nation support their American First candidate. And once they take the test and they match themselves up, the numbers are 85% of the time, including over 60% of Democrats actually vote for the Republican after they take this test, because they realize common sense is common sense, and they actually line up with the other side. They just never do it. And about 83% of independents will vote for American First Republicans when they take this. It's not partisan score, but it's just common damn sense. So that's what we're hoping to get out this like crazy. If people are looking out, check this out, share the score, because this will help Sears win. And we showed that we helped 20 races. In last year, there was enough races that our reach exceeded the margin of victory. So we feel like we helped out in some fashion, and we want to be able to help New York City out, because the scores are completely in support of Curtis Sliwa. Again, on the issues, he comes in as a moderate pro-opportunity, and I think the score for Zemdami is he is negative 3.6. So Zoran Mandami is a negative 3.6, which is about the lowest rating of anybody in U.S. Congress. He is horrible. He's got to be the most communist person. He's up there. I think the score is about equal to AOC. So when you look at his score, I mean, if you want to just destroy yourself, if you want to vote against yourself, if you like see a hammer and you just want to sledgehammer your hand on a table, then you vote for this guy Zoran. This chart you're showing included Eric Adams before he dropped out. But again, you can see the scores. What questions do you guys have about this? I know you had some questions about it, and I'm going pretty quick through it, but I want to make sure it's clear that if the person has a higher score, they're working for the majority of the people and the Constitution they swear on. If they have a negative score, they should be nowhere near office because they're doing the opposite of their jobs. I mean, their job is serving the people and the Constitution they swear on, and they're doing the opposite of it if they have negative numbers. And people that have negative numbers should be nowhere near office on any level in any town, city, or state in the country.
I just wanted to point out that his name is pronounced Zero Mani Petty.
I love it.
He spent time in the debate correcting Sliwa on how to pronounce Zoran. It's like, what did it like? Imagine my last name's Yushkevich if I'm correcting people on a debate to try to say it right. Like, we're not getting anywhere. We're not moving along. But anyway,
it's not like he misspelled it or mispronounced it so drastically. He just said Zorhan versus Zoran. Well, big deal.
I know, and corrected him twice. It's ridiculous. But anyway, so how did you come about? I took your test, by the way, when I was over at CPAC. I think the second time I met you when I was running for U.S. Senate, and I'm pretty sure I scored a damn near perfect score on it, or close to it, but I don't remember exactly. It was definitely a high score. So obviously you have a good system in place. But how did you come about with that system exactly?
So when I ran for Congress, I'm a business guy, and I'm still a business guy. I ran because I was pissed off in the bluest state in the country, rigged to death. You think it's bad in New York City, in New York, Massachusetts is worse. We don't have a single congressman on the Republican column. Neither does really anybody. All of New England, and J.D. Vance pointed this out just yesterday. 40% of New Englanders vote for Republicans, but we have no representation of all six states, and they're complaining about. They're complaining about gerrymandering. They're experts at it. That's what they do all day long. Anyway, we came up with it because I was pissed off because I ran and I talked to people all over when Seth Moulton was hiding in Joe Biden's basement. I don't know what they were doing, rubbing leg hairs in the pool. I don't know what. I didn't ask questions. I just know that he was not running. He was not talking to voters. Everybody I talked to, I looked at the numbers, and the numbers were over 80% of the people supported me on the issues. And of course, I still lose in a blue state. So I said, there's this problem with this. We need a damn Rotten Tomatoes or Yelp of politics just to show, hey, forget about the parties and all the control. Are they working for you or against you? When you talk like that, people change because they say, wait a minute, I'm going to vote for my party all day. But guess what? They're not going to vote against themselves. That's the secret that's our secret recipe, is they're not going to vote against themselves. And when they realize they're voting against themselves by taking this quick quiz, and now it's quicker even. We have an express version, which takes a minute to take. Instead of answering all 40 questions, you answer 10 and get a very close approximate. It's called the OP scale instead of the OP score. But when you get your score, you know where you stand. And then are you going to vote? If you have a positive 3.5 and the Democrat has a -3 or -1 or -2, would you vote against yourself? Like, would you vote? If you wanted,
of course not. But I just want to clarify. The question isn't why, because you already kind of answered that at the top of the program. It's like, how does the system work? Like, how did you come up with the questions? Like,
sure.
that's what I want to know. Like, how does the rating system itself work?
So to keep it clear and to make it nonpartisan, I know we're talking very partisan right now, but honestly, the system is nonpartisan. We used research and other rating systems like Pew Research and Rasmussen and Trafalgar Poll and many other research companies to back up our first of all, what are the issues we're looking at? So we know that people care about these top issues: school choice and healthcare, right? First Amendment, Second Amendment, energy. And so we including things like gay rights, right? We have all of that in there. So we know what the top issues are. And then we look at where do the people stand on the issue? So if we have poll after poll showing people want secure elections and voter ID, okay, that's a 85% positive response for that. So then that question, if the politicians against voter ID and common sense system elections, they lose the point. We keep it very simple. They win the point or lose the point. It's very, very, very objective. So that's how we do it. We look at issue after issue. We divide it into 5 categories of opportunity to make it easy for the voter to get to the OPSCORE and go into the system at opscore.org. By the way, you go to opscore.org. and you find it and you look at the ratings, and we look and that way you look at it and say, okay, I'm going to look about this candidate and where do they stand. You could spend 20 hours researching them, which you probably would take on your own, or you go to the op score and see where they stand on the issues, and we include the links. So you go to the score, you say, I care about the Second Amendment. You click on that, you find it under constitutional, which we call personal opportunity. You go into that part of the score, and then we put links and references to their voting records or their statements. So we prove that it's on the up and up. It's not that we just made it up because we're biased or something crazy. We prove it with the data. That's why it drives the left crazy, because we put the data in and they can't refute it. So that's how we do it. We look at the top issues and then we rate based on that. And then we say, what if the Constitution says right freedom of speech and they're against it, and there's proof that they're for these misinformation boards and disinformation boards that Biden put out there, or they want to censor people online like a lot of Democrats did in the past few years. They will lose the point. And by the way, Republicans lose points too on healthcare and other things sometimes. So it's not. It all lands. What all that matters is, are they working for you or not? So that's how we do it. And you can, again, we make it very transparent. It's all up front on issue after issue. We give the score, the reasoning, and then you're the voter. You decide if you think you have better facts, then go ahead, put your own facts in there. But the reality is, we show the data, we show the facts, we make it simple, we make it clean. And when we do it, 85% of Americans will actually they'll actually say, I will vote for that candidate, which is that candidate being America first. So we think we get this out there heavy enough and hard enough, we can help New York City go to Curtis Sliwa, because he's a positive 2.6 out of 5, which is moderate opportunity. So he may not be like bright red, MAGA level Republican, right? But that would hurt him. If he had a very high score, that would probably not be in line with the average New Yorker. His score is about reflective of the average voter, is right around that range. So he's right in line with the majority of voters in New York. And Mondami is so far left, and so far, when I say left on the score system, but also anti-opportunity. He's working against the people on issue after issue. If people looked at this, they're not voting for Mondami. I tell you that much. Zoran Mondami, by the way. Zoran. What did you call him? I love your version of it.
Zero Manny Petty or Zero Man Dancy, one or the other.
Zero Man Dancy. It's fun. He gets such a bad score that we're not being partisan, because we don't want people with bad scores getting voted. That's it. We don't want to see that, because they're going to hurt. They're going to hurt the people they're representing. So it is nice to see a system that's like the Rotten Tomatoes. If this was the system that people depended on and they trusted, which they can trust, they're not going to vote against themselves. And that's why people are asking people, just don't vote against yourself. Vote for the person that's lining up with you. And Mondami would lose, and our Curtis would win 100%. And by the way, the splitting of the vote, as you said, should be between the two Democrats. It shouldn't be between, and mathematically, it's a good position to be in for Curtis Sliwa. People actually had common sense when they voted. So that's how it works.
Yeah, that's exactly why they want Republicans to split the vote too, because they're scared that Sliwa might win, so they want to convince us that he doesn't have a chance, and you need to go and vote for Cuomo, because the establishment is okay whether Mondani or Cuomo wins. So, but I'll pass it on to one of the other co-hosts for any questions they have for you.
Kozi, do you have anything? Any questions?
No, it was fascinating. I'm glad that you explained it all the way you did, and I really highly suggest people go to your website and take the test and see what you got, and share it with your family and friends. It's a great thing. And as you guys were talking, I'm like, why are we allowing a foreigner to run for? Like, I'm not a foreigner, somebody who wasn't born in this country, right? You can't be president, right? If you're not a natural born citizen. Why are we allowing this in New York City? And many other states do it. And I have nothing against people coming from other countries. I mean, we're all immigrants. My parents are immigrants. Everybody's parents are pretty much immigrants or grandparents, except for you, because you have a long-rooted history here. But what I'm saying is basically, why are we allowing this? Especially that, to me, like, it's kind of dangerous, because it's like, for somebody like Mamdani, right, who literally just became a citizen, and all the rhetoric that he talks about, how he pretty much, it seems to me like he hates everything America stands for. Okay.
He does.
So, like, why the hell are you running? It's dangerous. And I think that this stuff, like, I think we should change the laws.
Well, the interesting thing is what you're bringing up is that we use the scale. Right? We look at the Constitution, which doesn't say anything except for president. The president can't be born in any of the country. All right, they has to be natural born American. But in our opinion, Go USA. I agree with you. I think I believe public opinions, especially on the federal level and in large cities like New York, you should be a natural born citizen. You should be born in the United States, because this person is a foreigner that comes and hates America. And I know the religion, and many people of his faith hate Christians and Jews. And look at he's clearly a pro Hamas guy. I mean, he does not. He's not a fan of Christians or Jews. We can be sure of that. And he's not a fan of America. So he's all the worst things wrapped up in one. But he smiles. He talks nice. He's got that smile, and he's smooth. He's got the Obama-esque ability way to communicate. And that's why the op score doesn't care about that. You notice in the op score, there's nothing about personality. You're the voter. You make personality. It's the soft stuff, right? On the resume, that's what we care about. On paper, this guy should not be anywhere near office. And it's my opinion that nobody in America, I don't care if you're a dog catcher, if you support any level of communism or socialism, you should be banned from office. I know it sounds like, oh, that's not constitutional. It should be in the Constitution. It should be added. It should be an amendment to the Constitution, I believe. Because it's against everything that America stands for. Is if you're a socialist or a Marxist, that's it. That's end of story. Point blank. You can't immigrate here if you come from a communist country. If you're connected to communism, if you're a Communist Party member, you're not allowed to immigrate here. Then how the hell should you be able to rule and run a state or a city or a country? The country, the state, city, town. You should not be able to do that if you're a communist. I believe.
I was about to just. I'm glad you said that, because I was about to come in and make sure I made my point clear. That was another one I was going to say. The more concerning thing to me is that he's a communist. Okay, and he tries to sugarcoat it and say I'm a democratic socialist. That you don't know what you're talking about if you call me a communist. No, seizing the means of production came out of his mouth. Okay, he's talking about government-run bodegas. He's talking about free buses, free this, free that. Listen, as an American, you have a right to have your own opinions and beliefs, but the minute you go to become a public servant, you cannot have communist thoughts. You cannot act like a communist, okay? This guy should be disqualified.
Yeah. I agree with you. The op score doesn't make that part of the scoring system, but that may change, and I'll explain it in another time, perhaps another show. We are putting together something called the Universal Bill of Human Rights. I've been writing this for a couple of years now. We hope to publish it the first part of next year, because that way we can export the op score to anywhere in the world, because you can't use the U.S. Constitution, right, in other countries. So we're like, what's the human rights document that we can leverage that would cover everything, no matter where you go? And that's why we're writing this Bill of Rights, which would be another measuring stick for the op score. And it will include, and I'll break it now, it'll include, there's about 10 ideologies which should be eliminated from planet Earth, like you try to get rid of polio, right? You try to get rid of these diseases. It's a disease like polio of the mind. And these things that have killed hundreds of millions of people, like communism, should be eliminated from the earth. Not the people, but the ideology should be run out of town. And so it's going to be in the op score. The new versions will include that idea that you can't be a socialist or communist in any country in the world, actually, not just America. But that's another story for another day. But right now, the voters need to make that decision. Are they going to work for somebody that's working for them or against them? And 85% of the time, if they look at the op score, they take the test. If they just look at the scores and they look at them, they don't even have to take the test. Most people don't even take the test. They just look at it and they say, wait a minute. I can see this now. I'm not voting for this jerk that's working against me and trying to be all sly and sneak in with this personality and attacks on Trump or whatever he's going to do. It's irrelevant. All that matters is they're working for you. If we get that in people's brains, you know what? These elections, the good guys will win. And I'm also concerned about the 2026 midterms. So we're trying like hell to raise money to get out there for those, because if they take over Congress, Trump will get nothing done in the next 2 years. And it's going to be hell. And they're going to be, so that's another thing happening. But let's not worry, but we'll talk about that in another show, because that's 2026. But
right, we're focusing right now on this moment, which is so hot. But the op score right now is a tool that people can use not just for New York City, but any of the elections that are happening in the United States. Am I correct with that?
Yes, right now it's built for only the federal level, and big cities like New York City. So, and governors. So it's governors, U.S. Congress, and races like the large cities, because we're not. It's not right now. It's not built to cover every election everywhere, and there's reasons for that I can get into. But the scoring system is based upon the data we can find, and sometimes more local races. It's hard to find where somebody running for city councilor, right? Where do they stand on the First Amendment, Second Amendment, abortion, right? That's not out there. It's not like
Right, that's a little bit more nuanced.
yeah,
Well,
so that's
well,
why
thank you.
so that's how we do it. We do it for those levels. We want to be able to help New York City with this op score, in particular, New York and Virginia, New York City. Right now, that's the emergency right here and right now.
Let's talk about that emergency, shall we? But first, mi gente, visit the opscore.org and take the test. And I would love to hear, if you are intrigued with what you get as results. And please do share, because this is, when we come and we do this show, it's not just to sit here and talk, because none of us have nothing to do. It's not that. It's to sit here and gather minds that are creating and doing stuff and generating ideas, and also activating movements so that we can have a better community, a better New York, wherever, John, are you still based in Massachusetts?
Yes, I'm in Massachusetts and part time in the red state of Florida, right down not far from Mar-a-Lago, actually. Um, but we are a national organization, and you can take you can take the boy out of Jersey. You can't take the Jersey out of the boy. So across the river, I'm from New Jersey originally. Got a lot of family and friends there. And there's another critical race, people know about. I think about the New Jersey governor's race is super
Yes.
critical. And again, you have a whack job left wing lunatic, and that's what she is. Terrible score. This Mickey, or Mikey, she's awful. And then you have Jack, and Jack has got a great score. He's got a 3.8 out of 5, and I think she's got a -3 or something. So again, a no-brainer, for the New Jersey governor's race, and it's a no-brainer for the New York City race if people just vote for themselves.
Let's talk about the New York City race a little bit more, because we're coming into the final stretch of our show this evening. Have you noticed, John, how much pressure there is for Curtis Lewa to drop out? Uh, at the top of the show, Kozi and I were sharing our personal different rants, and part of mine was just feeling incensed that in my mind, I'm like, I don't think there's ever a scenario where a Democrat would go out to try to help a Republican in reverse. I think that all we've seen in New York from Democrats and the people that they've weaponized against common sense thinking people is to see us as less than, and many of us have been dehumanized for over 5 years, and to come to the final stretch and start pointing fingers at some of us that feel dehumanized by you here, New York City Democrats, you, not just leadership, but when we do boots on the ground and we're there, hey, do you want to support this Republican or this independent or this conservative who's trying to run? We had people spit at us. We had people tell me, go back to where you came from. We had people yelling at us that we weren't for protective rights. And we had a lot of people say racial things to us, all of us. So to come at the 11th hour and start naming and blaming and shaming, and to me, this is what pisses me off, and this is where I'd like to comment on specifically, John, is our ancestors sacrificed themselves for each and every one of us to have the right to vote. I think that this is what incenses me the most, especially when there's people with so much money, with so much influence, who don't give a fuck about New Yorkers, excludes my F's. who want us to all of a sudden rescue something that is not rescuable. What are your thoughts?
Looking at this, and I'm not a New York voter, so I can't. I mean, I'm not going to be able to vote in the election, but I'm very, very concerned about it. And it's insanity. It's like it's suicide to be saying, oh, someone Curtis drop out somebody like I think you said you vote to hang yourself or get the electric chair or whatever. It's like the scoring system proves that you have a -1 for Cuomo, a -3.6 for Madami, positive 2.6. That's it. That's it. Like if you're going to go to a restaurant, you're not going to go to somebody that's got horrible ratings, right? Why would anybody with a rational brain? I had an argument with a left winger, and he was not happy. I said, if you vote for these people with these horrible scores, you're the evil or you're brainwashed and stupid. You can't be a smart person that's ethical and vote for that garbage because they're working against you or they're working against the people, which means you're either very, very brainwashed or very, very evil. But you can't be. I don't see how else you could say it. And so they're asking you to go and support support Cuomo and drop out of the race so people can vote for one of these two horrible people that will destroy New York City. The only one, according to our numbers, and again, this is not from a biased source. This is if you're an independent looking at this, vote for yourself, right? If you line up with Curtis Sliwa, which 85% of you will, versus the other two, then just vote for Curtis Sliwa and everything's solved. And he will win. And he will win by a comfortable margin if we just get people to see. If I ran for myself again for Congress, I would say don't vote for me, vote for yourself. Line me up, take the score. Don't vote for me if I'm working against you. And you know what? It probably won't. I'm telling people right now to use that strategy if they can. And Curtis Sliwa needs to do this. I was going to do a debate with Curtis Sliwa with Curtis versus Zoran. And an op score debate, and we were going to try to set that up. I think we're running out of time, but I'd still love to be able to do that if we can do it in time, because we read off the record. You know what? By the way, the op score doesn't count things that someone says lately. If Zoran Mandami were to go do a debate, and he were to all of a sudden say he's not for communism, or he's all of a sudden say he says he's for the police, we would correct the record to the viewers and say that's what he said, but this is what he does. And what he does matters more than what he says. And what he said before is what really real, that's what the real deal is. So these last minute campaign promises should be totally ignored, and they should only look at like a resume. What have you done? That's what matters. You can't tell a credit rating agency, oh, I'm going to pay my bills now on time. They're going to look at the fact that you've been late in your bills the past 6 months, right? So I'm hoping that people stick with Curtis and vote for Curtis Sliwa and stop this nonsense about getting him out of the race. It's a good candidate versus two crappy candidates, and that's not a biased statement. It's right in the air in the op score.
John, I'm giggling because I couldn't help myself, but we were comparing them to the scores, and I'm thinking about restaurant scores, right? Inspection stores. So like you have one candidate basically going to a restaurant and there's rats all over the food. And then and this guy has a D rating, and then the other one has a Z rating where there's mice, there's droppings, there's people without gloves making the food, sexual harassment happening at the workplace.
Yep.
And these are the people you're going to vote for? No, you're going to run out of the restaurant and you're going to go to the guy who's clean, who's been clean, and who has integrity.
And delicious tasting food, right?
Be clear, that is Curtis Sliwa.
And Curtis Sliwa is the only common sense candidate. And I know there's enough common sense in New York City to stand up for common sense. And
I'm not sure about that, but hey, you're more optimistic than I am.
I said there's enough. I didn't say there's a lot. I'm from Massachusetts, where we're worse than New York City. I can guarantee that. But it still is. It's salvageable. If 85% of the people are on our side nationally, it can't be worse. Our numbers like maybe 65%. Okay, maybe not 85. Maybe it's 65. But it's way over 50%. Guaranteed. I know it. We know that for a fact. So that's what we think from Go USA is stand up for Curtis, vote for Curtis, spread the word. Get this score out and get shares on it. Share the crap out of it, because if enough people see this, I know you got millions of views on a video that you did recently, which is awesome. Imagine if every New Yorker saw the SOP score.
I know, it'd be amazing. Thank you so much. I'd like to share this quick little video of Curtis Sliwa.
The reason this is on Mandami is because of the Democratic Party. They didn't fight their own battles. They turned their party over to the socialists, and now they want to come to us. Dormandlu, they want to say, oh, you're a Republican? We need your help. You can't possibly win. So help us, because we're falling and we can't get up. How pathetic. They can't even stand and defend their own party. So they want now you Republicans to become rent-a-wreck Democrats, Hessians, mercenaries, to help Andy Cuomo.
No way.
Who didn't even campaign in the primary. No.
That's true. That's another point. I haven't seen Andrew Cuomo at all. The only time I saw Andrew Cuomo was at the Crane's mayoral forum, and Zoran was there, and so was Curtis Lewa. And, you know, they spoke, they each had a little speech, then they sat down and answered questions. Zoran answered questions and he looked at the crowd. Curtis Lewa answered questions and he looked at the crowd. And Andy Cuomo entered and he just pretty much talked to the people interviewing him. He barely looked at who was there. And to me, that is an example of just how out of touch you are. There's no, I almost feel like he doesn't even want to be there. It almost feels like this is a painful exercise for him to be there. Drop out then. Drop out.
He should have dropped out. He shouldn't have run in the first place. He should have dropped. He shouldn't have kept fighting this. A two-man race, Curtis would clean. Again, common sense. If people voted on common sense, he'd clean the floor with Mandavi. I'm really hoping I know there's a path here, but man, we got to get the word out there. It's just common sense. That's what I'm hoping Curtis starts saying that more. I'm the common sense candidate. It's common sense, and I'm hoping he should be sharing his score and saying, "Hey, this nonpartisan rating system has me up 5-6 points over this guy, or both of those guys." And so you're either voting for them or voting for you're voting for yourself. If we're voting against yourself, if you vote for them. It'd be great if he said that. If we can get him to say that. I don't see what that says in the paper. Sorry.
Cuomo hates America.
Dios mío.
He actually told New Yorkers that if you're conservative to leave New York. Kozi posted that earlier today. And Republicans are on his jock, ready to vote for him. There's no, have some self-respect. Even if we lose, at least vote for the candidate that it actually wants to fix New York, because Cuomo's not going to do it. There's no saving New York City with Cuomo. It's ridiculous. But just so the New York City voters understand why Cuomo is still allowed to be in the race, the way it works is you get petitions signed for your party, whether it's Democrat or Republican. Then you have the opportunity also to get petitions signed as an independent. That all happens before the Republican and the Democratic primary. So, the way Sliwa has the animal rights party line as well, so he has Republican and animal rights. If Sliwa would have had a Republican primary and lost, he would still technically be on the ballot on the animal rights one. So, and a lot of candidates do that. They get an independent line as well, because especially Republicans, like when I ran for city council, I did Save the Planet Party. And the Green Party was no longer around in New York, so the Green Party people will probably think I'm a Green Party type of guy. Meanwhile, it saved the planet from communism, but people didn't need to know that because they see the R and they see the conservative, and but they see Save the Planet, and some liberals will vote for that. So that was the strategy behind it. And Sleewood did the same thing with the animal rights one. So that's why they're still on the ballot. Eric Adams is still on the ballot too. So even though he dropped out, people can still technically vote for him. And
did Eric run on the Save the Nightclub line?
Yeah, the Fugazi party animal line. I don't know
The con
what.
sofrito line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was the name of the club. But also to your point with communism, there was both Republican and Democratic parties in the 50s passed the Communist Control Act. I think it was of 1956 or I don't remember the exact year, but they made it so that no politician in the country can be a communist. But unfortunately, it's unconstitutional. It's never a communist won like Wisconsin or something, and it held up. My opponent in 2021 that won was a card carrying member of the Soviet Communist Party, and there was nothing we could do about it. That's why I researched it, and unfortunately, it. I mean, it's a slippery slope. It's free speech, so it's tough. Like it's a First Amendment thing, so I hate it, but I somewhat agree with it too. That you kind of gotta protect free speech, even though communism is a real threat. But pass it back to the hostess with the mostest as we wrap
As
it up,
Yeah,
Cafecito.
let's start our wrap out comments. Thank you everyone for tuning in tonight, and I'd like to say thank you to John for coming on and explaining to us the op score. And we do need more tools that bring people in a setting where we can sort of just talk about the issues without feeling like we're wearing a team's jersey and going to duke it out and fight it out. I personally think that New York City this is an awakening moment, right? Sometimes in life we get ourselves into messes to the point where we cannot be rescued. Um, I don't see Cuomo being in this at all. So, folks, we have another debate coming up on Wednesday. You can hear more about Curtis Lee then if New York means something to you. And I just see, like, when I think about Curtis Lee, I feel like I have hope, and I feel like I could look forward to his updates and him talking to the press and just Mayor Sliwa. I could just see it, and it'd be refreshing. I think that with his experience, I think that he could really be someone who can unify, because he has friends who are Democrats, who are, Republicans, conservatives. He can talk to anyone from the homeless person to the billionaires. And something us New Yorkers all have in common is that, hey, we all want to live well. We love small business, but we're tired of elite, big tech, super big money who most likely don't even really fully live in New York, trying to bully us New Yorkers of how to live. You guys are destroying New York City, and we can barely make ends meet. So get out there, vote, take a grandma, take a friend, and drive them. Do what you can. John, what would thank you again. And please share any comments, any wrap out comments you like, any messages that we didn't or something that we forgot to ask.
Yeah, sure. Thank you again for having me on. Again, our mission is just to get people to vote for themselves and vote for common sense, and they will do it with the facts. If the are the issues, Curtis Lewa will win New York, and the good guys will win Virginia and New Jersey governor's races as well. The other races that are right down the river, right down the street, right near New York. But the New York City can elect and will elect Curtis Lewa if people just use common sense. So share this score anywhere you can. Get people to take the OpScore challenge or the OpScore Express, the quick test, and make voting easy. It makes voting a lot easier too. You don't have to think about all the things and watch the ads and be pulled apart. You just say, wait a minute, this is my score. I'm voting with someone that's close to my score. That's it. That's it. It makes it a lot easier. So please do that. Share the crap out of it, and New York will be saved. That's all we got to say. I'm hoping people could do that. That's the contribution we're given to help this race. And so vote for yourself. It's not, as I say, it's not left versus right or red versus blue. It's them versus you.
Thank you very much, Mark.
I'm gonna make my official prediction for the New York City election. Not who's going to win, but I'm going to point out this is what's going to happen. All three candidates are going to get somewhere between 25 and 40% of the vote. That's how close it is. Unfortunately, the Cuomo-sexual Republicans will account for about 10 to 15% of Cuomo's vote. If that 10 to 15% would have went to Sliwa instead, Sliwa would definitely win. But unfortunately, we have the Cuomo-sexuals that want to take that vote away. Don't be one of those Cuomo-sexuals, okay? And to those people that are thinking about staying home, saying, my one vote doesn't matter, there are like over 1 million voters that think that way, that your one vote doesn't matter. You have to go and cast that one vote, and you vote for Sliwa if you want New York City to be saved, because it's going to the shitter. The last 12 years under Democratic so-called leadership, it has been destruction by design. Homelessness, crime, everything continues to increase. The prices of everything continue to increase. And every year they make all these promises that they're going to do this, that, and the third, and all they do is make things worse. If you want actual change, it's time to vote Republican down the line. And with that, I'll pass it over to Kozi the Magnificent.
Well, yeah, I had my rants for today. I agree with, what you guys are saying. And just keep up the fight. Keep reminding people. Tell your fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers, cousins. Bring them all. Bring them all with you. Courteously, what can win. Don't let the media tell you that they're not. Don't let these fake polls that are funded by these self-interest people, they're phony. They're garbage. It's about psychology. At the end of the day, if you believe and you get others to believe and more people to believe, then he wins. But if you don't believe, he loses. Believe. Spread the belief. Spread the courage. Let them know, just like we all laid out here very clearly, he hates America. He hates you. He hates everything you stand for. He failed already. He showed you who he was. He harassed women. He killed elderly. Come on, guys. Wake the bleep up and let's get Curtis in that seat. Thank you, John, for coming on. We love you, brother. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, guys. God bless you, and God bless New York City.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining us today at Cafecito Break. We will see you next Monday. Don't forget to watch the debate this Wednesday. It's getting spicy. Love you. God bless you. And don't let them bully you. Bye, guys. Woo! Wepa!
Don't be a Cuomo-sexual.
Or a communist.